Dear friends, welcome to the third installment of the ETHEM Innovation Series on megatrends and their impact on society, consumers and companies. I am Joost Van Nispen, founder of ETHEM, the Innovation Institute at the SIG Business and Marketing School. We're going to look at a very special case of everything as a digital service, XAADS. And this special case is the case of home working or teleworking, as it's called in certain places. It's in some ways the mother of all digital accelerations that we've seen during the COVID epidemic, and that undoubtedly will stay with us in some form or another even after COVID is long gone. The special case of home working is truly fascinating because very few companies will return to the status quo of 100% face-to-face working after COVID is over. Most will opt for some kind of hybrid model of teleworking and face-to-face work. Many companies fundamentally have a problem in that they never really seriously measured productivity, individual performance, and that makes it very difficult to adopt teleworking, home working full-time. So the proportion of teleworking will increase to the extent that companies adopt management by objectives, monitoring system, individual and group evaluation systems, and in general develop a corporate culture in which hybrid working, both online and offline, can thrive. A growing number of companies will even choose 100% teleworking with face-to-face team building events once or twice a year. In this case, tech companies, financial services companies, and public administrations in many ways are showing the way. For example, monetization dashboards are going to be the key to successful home working. Without a monetization dashboard, companies are very unlikely to move 100% in this direction. The OKR methodology of objectives and key results is being adopted at this very moment by more and more companies because the tools and leadership style used today do not allow workers to be the future workforce of tomorrow. To achieve better productivity, among other solutions, it is necessary to provide greater flexibility, a correct work environment, and the use of technology to measure performance. And OKR does this quite successfully, and therefore is one way in which companies can prepare themselves for the tremendous potential productivity increases and savings that teleworking, home working potentially offers them. What is the hybrid challenge? Apps that offer scheduling and communication between companies and employees. Everything from When I Work, which is an employee communication and scheduling app that uses the web, mobile apps, text messages, social media, and email to maintain communication between remote working customers and the home office. And Planday is a platform that offers communication and scheduling of the work team in a simple and functional way. More and more of these apps are being born at this very moment to smooth the continuing involvement of remote customers in the culture of their organizations. And these apps do everything from scheduling a workplace for when you actually do come to the office, to training programs to help you concentrate even if your home environment for working is not ideal. Home working and teleworking goes far beyond whether companies will choose a hybrid model or whether more and more companies will go 100% teleworking. Because the fundamental question, and a really fascinating question, is will home working have the devastating impact on large urban centers that some claim? The argument goes something like this. If more and more companies adopt teleworking, they need less office space. If they need less office space, they will downsize the amount of space and real estate that they rent or buy. This will put tremendous pressure on the prices of commercial real estate in large urban centers. When that happens, all the shops and services, and a lot of this is already happening in centers like New York and Tokyo and London. A lot of the services, the restaurants, the hairstylists that grow up around these business centers are no longer viable. This means that more and more you get a decimated tax base. In many cities like New York, 80% of local taxes are paid by a small number of high-intensive corporate headquarter users. Now, when that happens, it will become more and more difficult to pay for the basic social services of policing and fire brigade and schooling and many others that people need to be able to live in a large urban center like that. And it's very possible that when we get to a point like this, that we would find truly massive relocation and flight. And when that happens, after the collapse of commercial real estate, the prices of domestic real estate would come under increasing pressure. And in fact, in many urban centers, they have stopped growing, and in some, they're already beginning to decline. And then, of course, the question is, what is at the end of this increasing downward spiral? An urban wasteland, or some kind of reset and a reinvention of the large cities? This is probably, no one has the answer to these questions, but it's certainly a believable or an imaginable scenario. And whether we go some of this way, or God forbid, all of this way, it has implications that are really fascinating. It's certainly not an exaggeration to say that large cities will fight to maintain their status as magnets for the attraction of top talent. New York, London, Paris, Beijing, many others will fight for their current status to be maintained. Large cities will at the very least have to reinvent themselves. What is of course possible is that lower rents, their tremendously enticing urban legacy, and reconceptualization projects will offer new opportunities to a new generation. One could imagine, even in the worst case scenario, that when this deleveraging of prices has played its way out, that cities might suddenly become extremely attractive to a new generation of young people attracted by these things and the tremendous cultural offerings and so on. And we've seen this in other cases like Berlin, while the wall was still in place, which attracted fundamentally, West Berlin I'm talking about, only people under 30 and then people over 65, while the working, family-oriented age groups in between were very unlikely to live there. So time will tell. Some of the places like Paris is creating new neighborhood proposals in which everything can be had within 15 minutes and a short commute. And Madrid is looking at projects like super blocks that they will develop as alternatives in case the city centers come under increasing pressure. What is true, definitely, is that this offers huge opportunities to small cities, what we call tier 2 or tier 3 cities, and also opportunities for many rural areas, be they in Spain, what we call the empty Spain, or seaside properties in emerging countries. These nomads, or nomads with a K for knowledge nomads, are spreading around the world as I speak. In a place where you can work anywhere you like and maintain your contact with your home office and remain part of a team. There's no reason to stay in London. There's no reason even to stay at a close distance of your work. And people are spreading out everywhere to become the new nomads, the new knowledge nomads. And there are apps like this one you can see here, which helps these nomads to find the most attractive places to settle and to help them with the entire process of establishing and thriving themselves. Thank you for staying with me. Join me again for the next segment, where we'll talk about the second megatrend, which among other features the much lamented Whitney Houston. See you next time. Thank you.